All right, hey Tube. I'm here to talk about the Crosman Vigilante CO2 pistol that takes both BBs and pellets. I have it set up for pellets right now. And why, you might ask? Why am I doing this? Well, because this gun got me excited because of its accessory rail system that's on the top and bottom. Plus, I wanted to play around with a holographic sight, and I was wondering if the holographic sight could actually be mated to the gun. And this video is sort of to say yes, which I hadn't found on the net right now. Yes, and I'll show you how and what the accuracy results are. I'll kind of suggest that you look elsewhere for the nitty-gritty of how this functions. You know, just basically it's a single and double action pistol. It's got a safety right here. I have the safety engaged. So when you pull the hammer back and pull the trigger, it hits against the safety instead of releasing CO2. Let me break the gun down. Of course, that always happens. The magazine here is empty. I have a 10 pellet magazine in here right now. Okay. Let me just review the gun really quickly and tell you what I think of it. Functionally, it is great. Feet per second, up near 500. I have a crony, tested it with about 5 shots, got an error on 2 of them, but it shot between 430 and 480. So pretty good. Feels quite solid. So fit and finish wise, you know, what's plastic and what's not. This barrel here, or barrel shroud, is plastic, but it's a nice kind of high quality polymer feeling plastic. This plastic iron sight here is actually a separate piece, which is the same kind of plastic, but because it's a separate piece, it is just slightly wobbly. It doesn't rattle. It doesn't move around that much, but let me show you here. See if I pull up. Yeah, there's a little bit of play, but you know, it's a BB gun, and so that is totally acceptable. But it comes into play when you're mounting your sight, because that even very slight wobble, you do not want a sight mounted to. A surface that wobbles like that, you would not want to mount a sight to. Okay, this part is metal. So is the hammer. So is the trigger. The trigger and the hammer, some people have mentioned this, they are slightly smelly metal pieces. So I'm pretty sure that Crosman sourced these pieces from, you know, recycled metal parts. And who knows what they were recycled from. They are slightly smelly, but they're not as bad as some parts that I've used, let's say from N-Star. They're not too bad. So if you use the gun and you're handling it, you know, your fingers won't smell too bad. And maybe that's not an issue for people, but I've worked with some really, really smelly gun parts that you really just need to scrub yourself down after touching them. Okay, so the only part of this gun that feels like pretty cheap plastic is the grip. Okay, it does the job. It's very thick. It suits my hands fine, but for anyone with medium or smallish size hands, this is just a super substantial piece of gun here. To show you by comparison, here is the CP99 compact, right? Okay, and so putting that up against this guy, can I even get it to show very well here? It's way smaller. Okay. All right. Anyway, so yeah, this is pretty cheap. You know, very hollow sounding. You take it apart a little laboriously. And you got your CO2 in there. You have to take the other side off in order to get at the CO2, tightening screw here that punctures the CO2. So if I were to redesign this, or ask them to, which they never will, because this is a 33-year-old gun that they haven't really changed hardly at all in that time. But if I were to do that, I would say, make this a rubberized grip, and then have a little compartment here that opens up. You put your CO2 in, and then you close it, and the closing of that compartment punctures the CO2. No screws to fiddle with. SIG, and I think their P226, maybe it is, CO2 pistol, they have this kind of system where you open the compartment, you put your CO2 in, and then you close the compartment, and the closing of it actually does the puncturing of the CO2. It's great, not having to fiddle with tightening it up. But one tip I would give you with putting the CO2 in here, make sure that this is all the way tightened. So you'll tighten it, it'll puncture, but then keep tightening some more. Because I made the mistake on one of the CO2 canisters not to tighten it enough, and I was getting some lame shots. Some would be hard, and then some would just kind of fall out of the gun, right? Because the CO2 wasn't being regulated properly. Okay. So now let me tell you about getting this sight on here. So this is a Dagger Defense red dot sight. Really an incredible deal. $46 shipped, free same-day shipping from Amazon. It's got about 1,600 reviews last I checked, and almost a 5-star rating. Of course, as a consumer, you always have to be skeptical, wonder, where do those reviews come from? Do they teach a class and give these out for free? And so that's why they get so many positive reviews. But no, in fact, in my opinion, this is legit. The build quality is fantastic. The reticle looks good. No parallax. It does its job. So let me show you this real quick. Here's a dial. The battery goes in this compartment here. You just get this off with like a dime, and it pops right in. So the dial here has R and then a red streak, and then G for green on the other side, and a green streak. And this white dot here tells you what kind of reticle is going to be displayed. So when it's on R or G, it's off. But as you turn it and you get to the red streak part, it will actually turn on the reticle. It's not a tritium reticle. It's powered by this battery. Okay, so let's see if I can get you to see what that looks like. There we go. Pointed right at me. Okay, so I'm making it brighter. Less bright. Okay, and now it's off. Now I'll switch to green. Okay, and the green and the red reticle come out of the exact same place, so you don't need to re-sight in the gun when you switch from green to red, as you might expect. Okay, and the cool thing is there's this, it's parallax free. So, if your face is not directly down the barrel of the gun, but you can still see the reticle, the pellets are going to fall where the reticle is, right? That reticle is not moving laterally as your perspective changes. Okay, so that's cool. And the way that it works is underneath here is actually the reticle right here, and the front of this is kind of painted in this one-way mirror kind of paint. And so what's happening is you're getting a reflection of that reticle that's then projected out the glass. Okay, pretty cool. And it also has several reticle types. So for me, this crosshairs reticle I like the best. I kind of shot most accurately with it, but it has 3 others. It has, can I get a little closer? Maybe. Okay, it's got this guy, which is kind of like more of a diamond shape. There's your crosshairs, and then you have the bullseye with the circumference around it, a little ring around it, I should say, and then you have just the dot. All right. So really great piece, very well made. Elevation setting has a lot of settings. So it's got a lot of degrees of freedom in there. Well, not degrees of freedom, but you can correct, I would say, up to a foot up and down with the elevation setting, which is really nice. As you can see, it's fairly elevated in the back here to kind of point down. I sighted this in at 15 feet. Okay. And the elevation setting is here. It comes with a hex wrench. And then here's the windage. Okay. All right, so get on with it. How did you mount this to the gun? Right, so the gun has two Weaver accessory rails, one right here and one right here. And what I want to show you is that this Weaver rail, where you would mount a sight, is half part of this barrel shroud, which is very solid. Right, so this half is part of this barrel shroud. But this other half, as you can see a little kind of crease here, this other half is part of the plastic iron sight. And remember, I mentioned the plastic iron sight is a tiny bit wobbly. And so you don't want to be mounting something heavy to something wobbly, especially when that heavy thing is what you're relying on for accuracy. So what I did was mount this as close as possible to, as much as possible, onto the more solid part of the Weaver rail, right? But not so much that it would actually block access to this button here, which breaks the barrel apart like that. This is another design suggestion that almost everybody makes, which is, can't this guide rod just hold on to this magazine a little better, right? Maybe have a little kind of nub at the end that just is a friction fit that lets it still turn freely, but prevents it from just falling out of the gun when you take it apart. Yeah, if you're always being aware of it and pointing the gun down while you open this, it's not going to fall out, but you're going to forget. Okay. Okay, so yeah, the idea was to have this as much mounted forward onto this part of the rail as possible without totally obscuring that button. Okay, and this is about as far as I could go. There's the reticle switch here, which is actually covering some of the button, but not so much that I can't have very easy access to it, right? So if you were to mount it even more forward of the gun onto here, you'd be completely on that more wobbly rail, and that's not what you want. So mounted to here, it's not going anywhere. It's super solid. It's great. What else? What other suggestions? Yeah, the other thing is I have only the rear tightening screw in, right? So this is the rail mount of the sight, and I'm only using the rear screw, and it's plenty solid. You saw me hold up the gun just by the sight. It does have a front one here that I'm not using, and as you can see, it wouldn't work anyway. You run out of rail here, and it would hit the plastic iron sight. But it's working just fine with this tightened. This is not a high-powered rifle with wicked recoil that would necessitate both screws being tightened, right, so that it would stay sighted in even with severe recoil. There's no recoil in this gun. It's not a blowback gun. So this does the trick just fine for me. Okay. And so last bit is accuracy. What kind of accuracy? Well, from 15 feet, let me show this off. Okay, from 15 feet, I shot the 10 pellets. They were SIG match ballistic alloy pellets, about 5.56, I think, grain. And you see every one of the shots is within the 1-inch grouping. In fact, 1-inch grouping is the outermost ring. The black is even tighter. Okay, yep, pretty good shooting, if I may say. All right, this one's just dead on. So that's the accuracy of the Vigilante with the Dagger Defense holographic sight. So the sight does cost about as much as the Vigilante, but the Vigilante only cost $40-some right now. So I'm pretty happy with that. It's a nice addition to the SIG MCX rifle, CO2 rifle I have, and I'm enjoying it. All right, hope this was helpful. Bye.